morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And guys, thank you so much for staying with us here on Tobago Updates Television. We are into the sporting segment. We just heard from the Tobago Cricket Association. Exciting things happening there where cricket is concerned. Now on set with me, Mr. Jerome Morgan, Vice Chairman of the Tobago Zone Secondary School Track and Field Championship. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. It's good to be here. Good morning to Tobago, Trinidad by extension.
Fantastic. Track and field season. Yes. Track and field season, always a busy season. And you know, when I see how you guys do things in terms of logistics and stuff, I don't envy you guys to get all the schools and athletes and get them prepared for a meet with so many different events.
Yes,
You know, I commend you guys greatly for ensuring that school sports remain very vibrant in Tobago and of course Trinidad and Tobago. So you guys just concluded the Tobago Zone, what we call it Intercol.
Intercol.
Right, a new champion, should I say new champion?
New champion.
Yeah.
Freshly minted.
Yeah.
Congratulations goes out to Roxborough Secondary School. I mean, and we saw it happening over a number of years now, where every year they were getting closer and closer. And this year, to the team at Roxborough, physical education teachers like Mr. Kern Tom and Carissa Douglas, they would have led that charge.
Yes.
And the students rose to the occasion and they were victorious. I mean, it was wonderful to watch. Morgan's from Roxborough anyhow saying, no, I wasn't, I mean, I celebrated it. I was like, good for Roxborough Sec. And it was well done.
Yeah, and it's good to have other schools, I mean, aspiring to reach the top and then getting to the top.
Definitely.
Because traditionally, what we call is sporting schools.
Big schools.
Big schools.
Big
schools. Scarborough Secondary, Bishops,
Signal Hill.
You understand?
Those are the dominant forces in track and field. So Roxborough would have turned the whole thing on the head and they have shown us all that it can be done.
Yeah.
And any student that, you know, we have students who sometimes they haven't found their niche.
Yes,
and I think that's what they have done. They were able to get students to come out, participate, do a positive thing, and you know, they were successful. And going forward, it will be great to see if they could also go to the nationals and do the same, you know, because they have a large team going down. So mathematically, the numbers are there. They just have to get it right on the day.
Fantastic. And what do you think was your organization's role in that whole success for Roxborough?
I think we are just facilitators. What we do, and I mean, it's PE teachers. And we have a principal who I would apologize for. She couldn't be here because of a principal's meeting, Ms. Ramnarayan, as the chairman. So we are just here to ensure that we have a competition taking place. It's a lot to get it done. You know, you have to go through procurement issues. You have to go through scheduling conflicts. And it's a lot of work that has to be done in the background. I didn't even see much of the games. I would have heard relay teams, you know, and people asking me, well, why didn't this team win? Who got disqualified? And I honestly didn't see, so I don't know. But just being able to see athletes being able to go out and give their best, represent the school, I was really proud. Every child that went, in my book, they are winners because many people don't have the braveness to go down to that track. And,
trust me. I know of it. And would you say this was probably one of the better years in terms of organization and the amount of students that participated?
I will tell you, since COVID, it has been harder to organize. We as PE teachers have to wear many hats. Cricket season is starting as well. You know,
basketball too.
Basketball is taking place. And, you know, to be able to, in the midst of all of this, teach and ensure that all of these activities take place. For me, I just want to see my children participate. You know, and sometimes we will take some licks and it's a cycle. Then you would get a few good players, or if you could keep your players, you would be able to have a team that could really go all the way. And then to organize this, I think, within the school, the teachers have to take a lot of credit. They have ensured that their students are training, involved in a club, and this benefits the school in the long run. So they have a lot of students who have been training, not just, you know, for this short season, but they have an off season. They would compete also in the club events, some of them, and this would have benefited Roxborough.
And as you mentioned clubs there, I know there's a discussion in the public domain about some coaches not allowing their, well, I don't want to say their, because it's not their athletes. They coach them. But how would you respond to that in terms of not allowing them to participate for their school? Because I'm telling you, if you go to a school, I think school comes first.
Well, I will tell you this. I understand the concern. There are pros and cons, and there are two sides. Tobago is a small space. And what we have to do is to be able to work together for the benefit and also the success of the Tobago athletes. I think I understand if a coach comes to me and says, you know, I have a concern, or maybe this athlete, this athlete, exactly. Right, okay, so I have O'Shea Cummings, who's a young prodigy.
She's from
Mason, my school, right? And she's also outstanding. She qualified. She made the character times last year. She was too young to go.
And they actually named her in the team, and I think they had to
pull it back because of her age. Right? And she would have qualified already.
Yes.
One of the first athletes to qualify on that character because she have run the time.
What distance she is running?
She does 3,000, 1,500, and she also did the 800 for the Intercol.
She really time management in terms of 3,000.
That's it. So point in case, we had to pull her from the 800 because she has character trials is going to be the next weekend. You know, the second and third.
That's in Tobago, in Trinidad. Okay.
Right. So coaches would have to manage their athletes, and I could understand because of the effort, time, and money. Sometimes an athlete could get injured during training or even during participation, and the coaches and the clubs and the parents might feel it a bit more. But we have to recognize that the secondary school league is an important one also because it's part of the school life. And historically it has been there. So I think it's a case where everybody has to kind of sit down and work it out. Going to Trinidad over the next few days, we have a number of athletes who are character bound, once all things go well. I think it has to be worked out at the national level where the entry is, and the secondary school track and field association can sit down so that times could be recognized, ratified, so that even if you participate in a regional meet and something should happen along the way, your times could still, or your distances could be recognized and brought forward for the trials, and you could be considered as part of the team. And that's what we have seek to do in bringing in the entries. They would have managed. They had officials coming up from Trinidad to assist us here, and we also had in the former Mr. Lucas and Mr. Channel Edwards, who are also recognized internationally.
Yes.
They were meet manager and technical, team, so delegates. So they would have managed the meet and ensure that everything that was done could be considered for character and going forward.
Because at these meets, the Intercol, you can actually attain times to qualify for character.
That could be considered. That was the intention. That's why we brought these people in to assist, so that whatever was done in Trinidad and could be used coming out of their zones could also be used. And I think that's where we need to go, so that because in a character trial, let's say on that day, there's problem traveling from Tobago to Trinidad on that weekend, or an athlete is unwell, but they could still make it to the character. I mean, you want to be able to look back and see what is the most recent, that they would have attained, and that could be used. So I think that's where we need to go, so that every time an athlete goes to the track, it's worthy of them making a qualification.
I'm happy that you guys have considered that, because over the years, I think it places the athletes at a disadvantage. So I'm hoping that Mr. Lucas and Edwards, who came across and viewed the meet, they can strongly argue that point at the national level. And talking about persons who would have actually qualified for already, or who may have met the standards, do you have an idea of how many athletes and who to look forward to coming up to next week?
Well, let's talk about the national championship. At least we have going down. We have a number of major athletes. We have Malik Young, who is from Bishops. He's a very good runner middle distance. Also Adela Sylvester. We have Lashaya Bigat. She has to be managed. I spoke to her coach just last night.
Lashaya, what
Bigat. She comes from Goodwood Secondary School.
And what events?
She does the high jump, and she also could do 100 meters and some of the sprints. But some athletes managing injuries. So again, we'd have to consider trying to manage how she participates. You have people who everybody will be familiar with, like in the case of Ruth Irvin. I think we know Ruth. Ruth has gone to character a number of times. She was at Signal Hill, now at Scarborough Secondary. So Ruth is there. Of course, I said O'Shea Cummins, Jane Innes from my school. From Roxborough Secondary, Tishon Edwards, Natalia Eastman, also a character athlete who has gone to character and is one of the dominant runners in the 400 meters. I think it is. So we have Alexi Henry. One of my favorites.
Alex last year, and I think she actually medaled at the Character Games.
That's right.
So Bahamas.
And she came and she dominates in the national. So it's good to see people like her run. I have a young cousin, Mr. Jacon Douglas, again family from Roxborough. He's at Signal Hill Secondary, and I love watching him run. I'm looking at his development and tracking him, and he's doing really well at Signal Hill. So there's Kyle Manswell. I know we know the Manswell name. I saw his dad at the meet there, and I was telling him, it's good to see him. All right. So Kyle Manswell goes to Speyside High and Chanel Green. Did I leave out any school? I don't want any. So like as Joshua Kent, Hotel Joe Field, and these are just some of the athletes who. Now what happens?
Bright prospects that may get into the
that may medal. And because when you looked at the standards that they sent out of the qualifying list, these were people who were like either first or second. So these names stood out to me, and there are other athletes who will go down and. Based on their performance, I think they could also medal, because on the day it comes down to the competition.
And I wanted to ask you that, right? How does one qualify for the national champs? Is it by time or by placement?
Now, in the past, it used to be the top 2 from every zone.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes you'd have good athletes who didn't make it on the day and they would stay back. It's more difficult for us now because it's now, they have standards. So you have a minimum standard.
Right. So who sets that standard? Entry sets that standard?
The SSTF would have sat down with the entries and their officials, they would assist them and they identified. And I think they would have also looked at past character.
Oh, because that's what I was going to ask. What was the criteria for their
so
distance?
Some discussions would have been had and they worked it out. And now, the thing is, it means now that we have a much larger team.
Fantastic.
Because at the secondary level, we have very good athletes. I think somewhere, and that's where we need to figure out what to do to have people continue and go, whether it's go to tertiary education to continue, you know, applying their trade, or even to get to that next level where they become a professional athlete.
Yeah.
We have to define pathways because we are kind of approximately 334 students.
This is on the fast ferry, right?
Well, two days, Monday and Sunday. We have to still, when I leave here, I go to education, we're working that out.
Right. So what are you trying to do? Get the athletes done the day before? Or
at least the day before, that's ideal, so they could, you have to, because you have to then go to a hotel, check in, that takes a while, room assignments, have meetings with them, let them know this is what is expected, settle them, you know, because they're in a new place. Yeah, so it's 300 and it's about 61 teachers I should expect, and
that's
some
fantastic.
other, you know, we have we normally carry like Mr. Ruston Wood, who is a physio, and
that's
Walters, because you have to take care of these, and I mean we are looking at the fact that many of them will be competing in about 9 days for trials, so we try to make sure that they're comfortable, they're taken care of, and like I said, Roxborough, with the numbers they have and the talent they have, and I'm not to sleep on Signal Hill, Bishops, or Scarborough Secondary, they also have a shot of being one of the top 5 schools. And that's what we want to see. And I think Roxborough could be number 1 this year.
And then it's no longer by zone, because I mean, the Heber Tobago zone winning on, or the Tobago,
that's it's by school. So the more numbers your school could get into that finals, and they could play, you get points from 1 to 8.
Right.
So the more people who could either medal or at least be in the top 8, that would lend points to your school.
Well, how would you guys manage that in terms of, because it's no longer by zone, where Tobago zone may go down to
as a team, united.
By a team. So how do you manage that?
Well, for me, I am going with the executive, so I have to look at the bigger picture. Of course, you want to see a school do well. I want to be top 10, top, you know,
national champion.
Regardless of what school they come from, based on where I sit, I have to ensure that every school has a chance to do well, every athlete, you know, and so it's a matter, and I think we still need to look out for one another. Yes, we're going down at individual school, but if I see your athlete and something is happening, I could tell them, hey, you know, be here, do this. And it goes a long way. So, I mean, yes, there's still a competition, but at this point, the Tobago zone has been decided, and we now go in as a region, and we want to see all the schools in our region be in that top, you know, group of schools in Trinidad and Tobago.
And just tell me about the meet again. It's next Tuesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday, the 20th, 21st. Hasty Crawford starts at 10 o'clock. Goes up to 6 each day. And it's going to be great fun again. I'm seeing some top names from the national team who have qualified. So if they come out, it's going to be very entertaining.
Fantastic.
And it's normally a good time. You know, they usually bring in musical entertainment and that kind of stuff for the opening. So it's normally a lot of fun, and also it's a step in the right way in terms of development.
Yeah, and in terms of persons who may not be able to make it up, is it inevitably going to be a live stream?
They usually do a live stream. I would have to get that information and actually get it onto you, because you know I have you.
Yes.
So I would get it onto you so you can share it when you're sharing the live. They can,
I like that. And in terms, I mean, you mentioned that you're looking out for Roxborough to do good, because of obviously they are on the rise. They're on the rise in that particular way. So
they're going to be very hard to dethrone if they continue in that trajectory.
And I mean, just before I let you go, any final words? I mean, encouragement for persons in Trinidad, come out and support not just the Tobago athletes, but track and field on a whole.
Listen to me, I will tell you, our parents from Tobago have already started calling me to ask me when we are traveling. So there are parents who are leaving Tobago to travel to Trinidad. If you are in Trinidad already, people, come out, look at these young athletes. You may be able to see the next Keyshawn Walcott, Atto Bolden, you know, Dion Lendo. So these children are right within, and they are in, you know, this is the time they need that support. And I would say come out, support, make some noise, and encourage these guys so that we could see where they could go. Yeah,
fantastic. As I said before, it's huge work that you guys are doing. And you mentioned you are PE teachers. You have to be in the classroom, and then you spend so many times outside of the classroom. And I mean, we can't pay you guys enough for what you have been, because I love my sport, and I'm happy to see that you are making the effort, the extra effort to ensure that the youngsters, or I'll call them student athletes,
Yes.
you know, they marry that education and sport as well. So I want to wish you guys all the best. I'm hoping that I'm going to be there as well not only to cheer for Tobago
Report.
athletes, to report.
Bring the updates.
to put the good news and Tobago updates, and of course Tobago Sports Live. Want to wish you guys all the best in traveling, safe, and it's not easy to manage 300 athletes, especially when you have boys and you have girls, and obviously, you know, excited to see each other in that sense. So all the best down there, and I'm urging the athletes, put your best foot forward, and of course, whether you come first, last, third, whatever, still proud of you. Getting to the national stage is an accomplishment. Right, Morgan, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Pleasure, man,
Again, and we continue chatting about the development of sport in Tobago. Guys, this has been a sporting morning here on Tobago Updates Television. I want to thank you guys so much for sticking and staying with us. Coming up next, we have Good Morning Tobago with Candice Jackson. Yes, so continue to stay safe out there and continue to follow sports, play sports, drink lots of water. This is very hot these days. Share the live. We'll be right back after the break.